I know it's the height of summer. At least it is if you're watching this when it was first released. It's July. And honestly, the only thing on anyone's mind right now, well, at least on my mind right now, is when can I take a chunk of time off? Hi entrepreneurs, I'm Vicky Brown, and you're in the right place if you want to engage your team, boost your business, and grow your leadership muscle. You know, the middle of the year is the perfect time for employers to start getting themselves organized, both for year end and for next year. Well, actually, for some immediate changes as well. So, in today's episode, I'm going to cover 5 areas you should think about right now. Of course, the first is payroll. It's a great time to check things like your quarterly payroll tax filings. Do they have the same numbers on them as the employee's pay stubs? It's really easy to check this. Just pull the pay stubs from the last payroll date of that quarter. So, if the last payroll date, not pay period date, but actual day the check comes out, if the last payroll date in March was March 30th, then pull the pay stubs from that March 30th pay date. And simply compare the year-to-date totals, should be a separate column, with the tax filing. These two numbers should be the same, and if they aren't, something is out of balance. So then you'll have to do some digging to find out where everything went out of sync. But believe me, it is far easier to do this mid-year, or even better yet, each quarter, than it is to find out at the end of the year that things are off. And now you have to search across a year's worth of payroll to find the mistake. To say nothing of having to refile multiple tax quarters. All that can be time-consuming, majorly annoying, and really expensive. So get a jump on those tax filings right now. Also, keep an eye on the minimum wage increases where you're located. During the past few years, numerous states have had minimum wage increases that generally happen at the beginning of the year. But a lot of cities and counties have joined the party, and a lot of them change mid-year, on July 1st. So you should stay on top of what's happening in your state and also in your local area as well. Now, once you've figured out which rates apply to you, then compare them against your current salaries to see if you have to make any adjustments to stay compliant. Oh, and don't forget, sometimes it's not just the hourly rate that changes. Many times it's the minimum rate for exempt level employees as well. So don't just look at your employees with an hourly rate. Take a close look at the people paid a salary rate as well. Next up is year-end prep. Now, mostly this is making sure the information you have on file for everyone is correct. Do you have their current address? You'll need those for W-2s, etc. Is everyone who's supposed to be in the benefit plans actually in the plans? And were people who should have been removed from the plans actually off the plans? It's really easy to forget that part. Are all of your retirement contributions up to date? If not, get that sorted now. And year-end prep would be nothing if I didn't mention tax prep. Now's the time to start pulling together all those notes and numbers so you have all the information you'll need for your accountant at year end. Now, I know there are a lot of pieces of tax prep that we could talk about, but I'm going to focus on the things around being an employer. The past year, well, actually years, have been really unique. And because of the pandemic, we've seen lots of programs involving tax credits and rebates for employers. Well, let's be sure you get the most benefit available to you. But to do that, you'll need the numbers. Have you had employees who've used any of the supplemental sick time during the pandemic? How about the employer tax credit program? Listen, I'm not an accountant, so I can't give you the details of what's available to you or what you might qualify for. But I can tell you that now is the time to talk to your accountant, because the sooner you get started figuring out what's what, the easier it will be for you to get the information they need. And the last, but certainly not least important area, is your team. Start by looking at your performance review program. Is it time for mid-year reviews? And just an editorial note here, think about getting away from the mid-year, year-end review cadence. Discussing performance with your team is much more effective when it's done more often. And besides, I'm sure the managers and team leads would much prefer more but shorter check-ins versus having to do multi-page review forms for everyone on their team all within a 2 to 3 week period. As my former executive assistant used to say, ain't nobody got time for that. It's far better for your employees too. It's always better to get more timely info on your performance than it is to get less. So think about opting for a more fluid, frequent review process. We'll talk more about performance programs in a later episode. Now, if you have some sort of bonus program in place, take a deep dive into the numbers. Has anything changed in the business since you put those targets together? Are you earmarking the proper amount in your monthly budget? Basically, I'm saying, use mid-year to confirm your performance review and award programs are on target. Here's one that's often overlooked: paid time off. Have people been taking time off throughout the year? Is anyone building up a huge PTO bank? If so, it's a great time to think about telling people to take some vacation time. It's good for their soul and the liability line of your budget. Seriously, team members should take time off. We all need to recharge and reset, so have them schedule their vacation time for the remainder of the year right now. That way, you'll have the opportunity to make any adjustments that might be needed for workflow. After all, everybody can't take the last week of August off. And speaking of time off, now is a good time to think about what holidays you want to observe next year. Recently, some holidays have been added to the federal calendar, so now is a good time to take a moment to consider which holidays make sense for your business. What, if anything, you're going to do about people who work on a holiday, and any other policies around holidays you may want to put in place. Oh, another thing about holidays, believe it or not, now is actually the time to start planning for any year-end holiday celebrations you want to have. Maybe it's a lunch or dinner, or maybe it's a gift, or frankly, maybe it's nothing. But either way, now is the time to start making decisions and planning. Another area that gets overlooked is employee benefits. The year the Affordable Care Act was enacted, a lot of employee insurance carriers changed their open enrollment dates to December. And as a result, there are a lot, and I do mean a lot, of companies with benefit enrollment dates in December. Well, now is the time to put your head together with your insurance broker and start thinking about any changes you might like to see in next year's programs. Sure, it's too early for you to know what your renewal numbers are going to be because they usually don't come out until approximately 90 days before the open enrollment date. But it's a good time to have discussions around what you like and don't like about your current plan and any changes on your wish list. Oh, and while we're at it, be sure to double check the information you have on file for your current plans. Things like everyone's salary rate for the insurance or disability plans. Are those rates up to date? So many times we forget to update that info throughout the year. And finally, don't forget to start thinking about strategy planning for next year. Really, believe it or not, next year is right around the corner. So we have to start thinking about it and planning for it now. If you found this information helpful, please subscribe and share. And if you're struggling with how to get your business off the ground and what comes next, then check out the Leader's Journey Business Builder. I designed this completely free video series to help you with figuring out who your customer is and where to find her, how to sell without selling, how to package and deliver your service, and much more. Check it out by using the link leadersjourneyexperience.com. And remember, your inspired leadership is the secret sauce to having a high-performance team and a wildly successful business you'll love. I'll see you next time on Leader's Journey.